containers is something that we're really excited to play around with, where we can have, basically composable ecosystems that have their own economies. While, we could go ahead and create gasless transactions for users, offer discounts on transactions. But despite being a composable ecosystem, it gets to leverage the entire L1's liquidity. I think that is something that solves one of the foundation problems of DeFi currently, which is fragmentation of liquidity. I would say one word, man, vertically integrated stack.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Super dApp Builders podcast, where we break down the projects building on SUPRA L1. We're really excited in this edition to have with us the co-founder of Dexlyn Labs, one of the exciting projects about to launch on mainnet here on SUPRA. We have the co-founder, Jay Kapoor, with us. Jay, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Yeah, great to be here, man.
We're really excited to dive into what you guys are building, dive into what it is that you guys have been up to and what's on the roadmap. But first, I always like to ask what it is that got you into Web3. So how about just a quick intro into who you are as a person, what you do, what your background is, and how you found your way into Web3?
Sure. My first kind of introduction to Web3 was during this 2017, ICO. We had CryptoKitties bringing a lot of volume to the exchange. And my first introduction to the industry as a whole was because of, art mainly. Because at the time I was super involved with this, PR agency, which was helping artists get, their music off the ground. And at the time, one of the issues that, we faced a lot, especially the artists, was, that when it comes to their music, studios earn way more than they actually, make off of it. So, when we learned about this thing called Web3, you have built-in royalties for every sale that an NFT does. We got super excited, and that was kind of the first time we kind of explored Web3 as you know, as a medium to promote art. Since then, we've built on Ethereum. We've built on Solana. We've been part of DeFi companies that have delivered value to over 1 million users, and that's basically my journey into Web3.
Tell me how a guy who has a background, certainly in Web3, in PR, NFTs, music, art, gets into co-founding a DeFi protocol. That's quite an interesting jump.
Yeah, definitely. So, I think this was an year ago, an year and a half ago, when we were having this discussion, and I think Supra had just come out with the Moonshot consensus paper. And what we the first, you know, segue to Supra's tech was 500K DPS. And at the time, all of us were like, come on, is that for real? And then we had to look at the tech, is we had to look at the tribe and clan architecture, and we realized that a lot of optimizations done on Supra's tech, natively integrated oracles, vertically integrated stack with multi-VM support. All of this was not only the need of the hour, these were the foundational problems that were kind of holding back onboarding of users. And, for us, user experience is the main thing that comes to when we build products. And we finally kind of realize that now is the perfect time to leverage this very, very efficient tech to build a very cool user-centered product that could add value.
It really is a perfect time. It's all about timing. Perfect timing. Supra's L1 is now live. It's really an exciting time for everyone in the Move ecosystem, especially because, of course, Supra is the third L1 in the Move ecosystem. We're really excited about that. Of course, we're MultiVM, but being the third Move L1 is quite an exciting venture for us to break that kind of ground, be pioneers along with Sui and Aptos. But let's jump into Dexlyn Labs real quick, Jay. Give us the rundown about Dexlyn. What made you start the company? How did it all come about?
Yeah, so, uh, again, about a year and a half ago, we were having this discussion, and basically, what we realized that while there are a lot of kind of foundational problems within DeFi ecosystems, this Supra came at the perfect time because it was just at the cusp of regulatory support as well. And what we realized that this not only is the perfect moment to build a user-centric application, it is also the perfect moment to help other builders that are kind of building on top of Supra to manage their liquidity as well. So at the end of the day, what we realized that uh, just using all the battle tested technology that is out there, what we can do is essentially work as a liquidity engine for Supra. And, once all of the practical use cases come live, they're going to need, financial platform to manage their liquidity. And the idea was to be there at the time and, continually add value.
Now, you guys are just finishing up your recent community program. It's a trading game that I saw a lot of the users were excited about on Dexlyn. I believe it was running on Supra's testnet. Talk to us about what the activities were that users could do, and what was the community response like?
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why we kind of went ahead with the trading game was we've been building for a while and we couldn't just wait to for everyone to test out the platform. So on the platform, the users would be able to perform swaps, use cross-chain bridges. Basically, everything that's coming on to the mainnet was available on the district. And of course, we did create a lot of incentives for the users. So there were daily rewards that were distributed. There's a winner that's the winner that has the maximum profit. One of the things that we also did during the trading game was peg the prices on the decentralized exchange to real world prices once a day. So traders had that edge of knowing where the market was shifting by the next day and hold their positions and make profits accordingly. Yeah, so basically we have seen this kind of model before. I think Trader Joe had something very, very similar, but what we wanted to do is essentially educate the users for before the mainnet release. So, when they trade with actual funds, they know what the dynamics are.
And what about Supra's mainnet? When do you guys plan to be live on mainnet? And what's going to be available on the protocol when that happens?
I mean, we do have a couple of dates floating around right now, but what I can say for now is we're going live first week of February. And in terms of what will be available on the platform, so day one, the user comes onto the platform, they'll be able to use our, swap pools, our liquidity pools, and also they'll be able to perform cross-chain transactions between Ethereum and SupraChain. Very soon after that, we'll be launching our IDO launchpad. So users will be able to come onto the platform and crowdsource everything they love building. And very soon after that, we'll be following that up with the release of Subra name service, which we believe is a very, very essential user experience product because after then within our DeFi ecosystem, there would be basically no need to remember your 18-digit hexadecimal wallet addresses. You can just transact using your .super ID. So that's on a high level our release schedule for the first of February, for the first week of February.
Wow. Yeah. Well, February is going to be an exciting month for you guys, and this podcast should be released around about the same time. So it's going to be perfect timing. People are going to be very excited. Um, you brought up the IDO platform. One of your USPs is actually to build. For those that may not be familiar with that sort of marketing lingo, USP, your ultimate selling point. What kind of dApps or protocols would you guys like to see be built with Dexlyn?
I mean, as I mentioned, what we're essentially trying to be is, the liquidity engine for Supra. And we've ensured that, not only on the platform, but within our integration docs as well, to keep it generalized enough so that any app can basically use the functionalities on the platform, basically plug and play. right? But of course, we did consider some use cases while kind of structuring everything. So, we want, if you're building an automated trading bot, for example, if you're building a prediction market, any sort of, NFT marketplace, synthetic asset platforms, any kind of lending, borrowing pools, or even, if you want to kind of build an aggregator on top of Dexlyn and find the best swap rates and optimize trades, you'll be able to do that using Dexlyn.
Sup everyone, James here from Supra, and I want to remind you real quick about the Super dApp Showdown. If you're looking to deploy a dApp on Supra's L1, you should enter the Super dApp Showdown because you could win yourself a slice of a $100 million ecosystem fund. In addition, you could get exposure to over 500,000 verified KYC users in our ecosystem, and in addition to that, you could appear on the Killer Whales TV show. That's the TV show where you present your dApp to VCs in the Web3 ecosystem, and that gets streamed on TV to over 600 million homes around the world on leading streaming services. All you got to do is head on over to supra.com/showdown, enter your details. We'd love to feature you, and we'd love to check you out in season 1 of the Super dApp Showdown. So head on over to that website and enter as soon as you can.
I think that's something that a lot of people are excited about. Something you mentioned there, NFT marketplaces. So you're saying that even with the Launchpad and the IDO platform, people could come and crowdfund something like an NFT marketplace on Dexlyn?
For sure. And it's not only just that. So, when it comes to the IDO platform, the main idea for us was we realized that Supra's tech is something that a lot of builders will like to build on. In terms of user experience, speed is something that often hinders projects, gaming projects and metaverse projects. So with subsequent finality that Supra offers, that obviously is resolved. So, when it comes to IDO, we're looking at, in general token crowd sales, but for gaming token launches, if you're building a real estate tokenization platform, you'll be able to kind of raise the liquidity on the IDO platform, and that liquidity will be subsequently, locked into the DEX. So the users' funds are secured. You have a wide array of use cases that you can use to build both on the IDO and use Dexlyn's integration docs to manage your liquidity on the DEX as well.
It's interesting you brought up real estate platforms. I think you guys were on the call with Demonopol, or in fact, no, if I've just got to go back to our SUP X space. I think you guys were on the call before that, but the X space after that, we actually had Demonopol, which is another project building on Supra, and they're building a real world asset platform structured around real estate. So that's actually really interesting. And it would be great to see projects come to Dexlyn to be able to crowdfund, source liquidity from what you guys have built, because that grows the ecosystem exponentially.
Exactly. And, again, one of the other things that we're really excited about when it comes to the IDO is Supra's MultiVM support. So, if there are projects that want to enhance their offerings and basically add multi-chain support, uh, you know, it makes super easy for us, because Supra has multi-VM, we can just tell them that, you can just basically plug and play your EVM code, for example, and only the move aspects you'll have to kind of consider spending some time on, which it does make a lot of those conversations super easy.
Now, Jay, with so many different features that Dexlyn are rolling out, which feature are you personally most excited to see live on Dexlyn?
For me personally, I think I mentioned this on the X days as well. Cross-chain interoperability is something that we think is the need of the hour. And the feature that I am personally most excited for the users to use is our cross-chain bridge. Initially, while we're starting out with an EVM to Supra bridge, very soon we'll be adding support for EVM L2s. So all of the users from any EVM network will be able to bridge their funds to Supra, bridge their funds back to EVM with ease. And very soon after that, what we'll be doing is following that up with Solana BM. So, regardless of what kind of architecture you have, you'll be able to leverage Dexlyn's tech to kind of bridge your funds and build on top of it.
Yeah, and you talk about the different types of architecture in the Web3 space. I'm curious to know if Dexlyn's protocol is based on the architecture of other popular protocols, like Aave, Balancer, Compound, Uniswap. Is it inspired by any of those popular protocols in Web3?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we kind of didn't want to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, but we also wanted to rely on battle-tested technology, right? When it came to particularly our text dynamics, we studied platforms like Uniswap for their AMM models. Uh, you know, I think I mentioned this on the X space before as well. We're planning to introduce borrowing and lending very, very soon after the launch. For that particularly, we studied compounds, lending mechanics, obviously Aave's lending mechanics as well. For the perpetuals features, where users will be able to use margin for trading in perpetual futures. We studied thoroughly DYDX's perpetual trading platform. So, of course, we have kind of looked at a lot of the architecture. We know exactly what kind of bottlenecks they have, and we have managed to kind of enhance the efficiency for a lot of them. Even with the cross-chain bridge, we kind of used hyperlinks, message passing services, and built on top of that to ensure that users' funds are being, securely transferred from EVM to Supra.
It's interesting you bring up Aave's collateralized lending protocol. I think I asked you on the X Space as well, and I know we've brought that up a lot. But for this audience on the podcast, do you have any idea of the ratios of collateral versus what can be borrowed that you guys are targeting that users can get excited about?
Yeah, I mean, right now we do have some numbers floating around for that. But to be very honest, I wouldn't want to talk too much about that, mainly because that is not something that we're planning to release very, very soon. And also, when it comes to our launch, we're essentially focusing on the foundation level stuff first. So mainly right now, we want to ensure that the cross-chain liquidity, the cross-chain bridge and the liquidity pools are something that is very, very battery tested. It is stress tested, and security-wise also they are efficient.
So I want to talk about community right now. You have a large community. There's been a great response so far. You guys seem to have built quite an active community, and I'm just curious how you grew it. What are the key steps that you guys took that other builders could learn from?
Yeah, I mean, I remember day one, while we were, kind of planning the entire thing, we realized that building on top of Supra also means that we get to be a part of this very, very active community. I believe, Supra has what around 500K KYC users, and we realized that those would be kind of the first adopters for our platform. So essentially, the way we structured the trading game, we offered a bonus for the PVO users because those users have been, involved with Supra from a very, very long time, and also they are by extension one of the reasons why we get to build Dexlyn leveraging Supra's tech, right? So when it comes to specifically how to, ensure to grow your community, I think value is the best part of the equation. I mean, you know, we consistently edited a lot of things in the trading game to ensure the users are getting the maximum value uh, when it comes to when it comes to their participation. Even in fact, I think I remember this very, very vivid discussion. I think it was one of those late night, early morning discussions within the team, and we were all looking at each other, and we had a particular budget number, and at the end of that conversation we were like, okay, you know what, we don't want to do paid marketing, we don't want to do anything, let's give all of this to the user. So what we did is essentially, there are daily rewards, obviously there are weekly was there's a final reward based on the profit leaderboard, but also for the users that have participated consistently on the platform, we're offering them to convert their points into Supra in at a particular ratio. So regardless of whether they have won in a profit leaderboard, regardless of they have won daily rewards, if they've just participated every day, they're going to be able to convert their points into Supra.
I mean, that's what it's all about. It's about users. And I think that's something that a lot of builders can learn from is focus on the users as much as possible, which is something that we have done our best to do and to endeavor. Our co-founders are very, very strong on that. There's actually a goal to be one of the best support-based protocols and projects in the industry, because user-centric projects is actually something that's quite rare. So hats off to you guys. Talking about the community, I have to ask this question. I'm curious about your X following. Considering you guys are quite an early project, it's really impressive what you guys have done with your X following. Would you mind sharing some insight into how you grew that? Did you leverage any marketing agencies or KOLs? I mean, you don't have to name names, but I think there's a lot of founders that could be watching this that could learn a few things to see how you achieved such a great following on X.
Yeah. We didn't use any particular marketing, any particular KOLs. I think a lot of all of the growth can be attributed to, you know, organic word of mouth marketing. Mainly, what we ensured is, we're using the all of the utility that is being derived from the users, we're giving back it. So when it comes to particular steps that founders could take, I would say ensure that your users are getting value from day one. It does not matter if it's testnet or mainnet, but it's about the users. Right. I think I mentioned this on the X space as well, that we have this raise that we follow internally, that this is a platform of the users. We're just the ones building.
Yeah, again, you focus on users and the users will come, they will follow. I think that's important advice to take. What about some mistakes, especially in community building? Do you feel like there could be mistakes that you guys have learned from that other builders could try and avoid?
Yeah, I mean, the first one I would say is, as a startup, you always have moving marks. So essentially, my advice would be to plan everything that you're going to do well in advance, because you always expect that to change. Secondly, and I think this is kind of a generalized problem in Web3 right now, where I see a lot of affiliate marketing sites where they have their users do a bunch of tasks, but at the end of the cycle, the users are not being rewarded as such, right? And that creates a negative impression. So another thing that I would advise to focus on is whatever the user journey is. I would always advise to plan your incentives in a way that the users feel that they have received value from the platform.
Talking about mistakes, I want to chat about building in general. What advice can you give builders and founders watching this right now? What should they focus on? What should they avoid?
Yeah, so the first advice what I would like to give is have a clear vision. you know uh, it's sometimes it's very very easy to get lost in the hype, right, and what's popular, and it doesn't necessarily have to be there, have to kind of the hype markets do kind of fade away after a point of time, but if you have a straight vision, if you have a clear idea of how you want to build, you should always stick to that.
Now, Jay, let's talk about your work with Supra. How did you first come to learn about Supra and how did the relationship start? I know you mentioned earlier on that you heard about the moonshot consensus, 500,000 transactions per second, but then how did the relationship begin?
Yeah, so once we started building out various components of Dexlyn, it was Move was something that was new to a lot of team as well. I mean, we did have a few native developers that came from the background of Solidity and Rust, and they kind of had to switch over to Move. And of course, the main thing was that Supra's vertically integrated layer one solution was something that we wanted to leverage. So I remember we did have a lot of conversations earlier as well while we were kind of ensuring that the roadmap was something that would continue to benefit users, and active participation from Supra team was also really important in how we structure our offerings as well. And of course, while building various components, we used a ton of different products uh, that were natively offered by Supra. So I think it has been really important for us to continually collaborate with the Supra team to kind of build out various components.
And practically, who was the first person you got in contact with? Was it someone that you met in person at a conference? Was it an email? Was it a cold email? How did that all begin?
I think the first conversation we had was with Tegan, the ecosystem developer lead at Supra. And I think it was over a message conversation where we kind of discussed a bunch of ideas of how we can structure the decks. I remember, us discussing internally that this is a really great support because talking to Tegan, he was also very excited of what we were building, and that got us even more excited as to how we want to structure the offerings. And yeah, I think that has been really important for us ever since because it does help offer kind of a broader perspective from the ecosystem level to position our decks and where particularly our users get value.
Yeah, everyone loves Tegan, and the work that he does in terms of building relationships is something that is shared by everyone in the ecosystem. They really enjoy working with him. They love his knowledge, his passion for the industry. And for those of you that are listening or watching, we will put a link in our show notes to the interview we actually did internally with Tegan on this very podcast. He was on a couple of episodes ago, so I encourage you guys to check that out. Now, what made you choose? And I know we have kind of discussed this a little bit. You have touched on it, but any more specifics about what made you choose Supra as the L1 of choice for Dexlyn?
Yeah. I mentioned speed is something that's really important to us. But, what we kind of realized once we looked into Supra's architecture, it's not just about speed, it's also about a robust security model, right? With the Supra's tribe and clan architecture, which kind of allows dynamic scaling while kind of maintaining strong, fault tolerance. So that I think was something that was really important for us when it comes to high frequency, trades and cross chain transactions. Of course, we're also super excited to try a bunch of things on Supra's roadmap. Containers is something that we're really excited to play around with, where we can have, basically composable ecosystems that have their own economies. Uh, while we could go ahead and create cashless transactions for users, offer discounts on transactions. But despite being a composable ecosystem, it gets to leverage the entire L1's liquidity. So I think that is something that solves one of the foundation problems of DeFi currently, which is fragmentation of liquidity, because you have L1s and the entire L chain dilemma, where you have L1s and as a base layer and L2s on top of that. And the liquidity is so fragmented within the same ecosystem that users have to do multiple transactions just to get from L2 to L1 as well sometimes. So I think a lot of foundational problems that were solved with Supra uh, is something that got us really excited to build on top of it.
And talking about liquidity, you guys have actually spoken in the past about Supra's proof of efficient liquidity, known as POEL. Um, I've seen you talk about it on X and podcasts. Just talk to me a little bit about how Supra's POEL benefits Dexlyn and its users.
Sure. POAL, in one word, I would say is a game changer for us. So basically what POAL does is it ensures that liquidity is allocated dynamically based on demand. preventing underutilization and oversaturation of. So, in terms of our use cases, right off the bat, we are going to be using POEL to build fully on-chain limit orders, where LPs provide liquidity to, Dexlyn's order book, and through POEL, this liquidity can be staked to support network security as well. Very soon after that, we'll be using POEL for perpetual contracts as well as lending borrowing pools. So, basically LPs are supplying liquidity to these markets, and POEL, it basically enables these assets to be staked concurrently as well, which we believe would kind of, in turn enhance capital efficiency because, a lot of platforms have a very, very high total value lock. But if you look at the capital that's moving around, the transactions that are happening on a daily basis, that's a super low number. So, which points to the fact that basically, while the capital is locked at a very, very high number, the capital is not very efficiently being utilized within the platform. And I think it would also help us, improve liquidity, provide users better trade execution, and reduce slippage, apart from the obvious network security benefits.
Now, for builders watching this that may not have chosen their ecosystem to build in the virtual machine that they're choosing, why should builders and founders in the space look at building on Supra? What would you say to them?
Uh, I mean, I would say one word, man: vertically integrated stack. I mean, it's so important because I remember while initially, I think one of the first projects we built, we were building, I think, a betting platform. And we remember that we are using Ethereum for the base layer, and we were using Chainlink to get the price data, right? And obviously, there's a lot of implementations of something like that. But when it comes to whenever there's kind of transactions moving across chains, there's a security flaw. As you know, a lot of the hacks that have happened so far have been within, specifically within cross-chain ecosystems, right? They don't happen on chain itself. So having a vertically integrated Oracle where you don't have to go outside of the chain to get price and, various data is something that not only improves user experience, it also improves the efficiency of your application. Obviously, multi-VM support is something that I would also advise to kind of look into. Basically, whether you're building on EVM, whether you're building on Solana, you can just plug and play your entire code base and add Supra support, and you're natively multi-chain that way. And it's so easy and so you know kind of very, very efficient to do that. I think that's something a lot of builders should also, definitely look into. And of course, there's sub-second finality, which is something that we are very heavily depending on to provide a good user experience.
Well, you heard it there from Jay, folks. I mean, it's quite clear. One word. Well, it's a couple of words, but one phrase,
Sure.
quite
Yeah.
simple. Full vertical integration stack. That's exactly what users are going to benefit from because of all of those services integrated into one stack, which you guys are already leveraging, making use of. So it's really exciting to see you guys leveraging so much of what we have on offer already. Jay, what I want to do right now is these are questions that I'm going to ask you that I ask everyone on this podcast. So I want to run through them. You can take your time to think about them if you want to. Some of them can be a little bit of a curveball, but the first one is this: what's the light bulb moment that makes people instantly see why your dApp is a game changer?
Uh, sure. So, when the users come onto the platform, they'll notice that we're much more than a decentralized exchange. We're an entire DeFi hub, right? And it's not limited to users' liquidity. Any user can come onto the platform. They can build what they love, and they can be sure of the fact that their funds are being logged into super safe mechanisms. Uh, if you come on to us as a builder, our liquidity gets automatically locked on the Dexlyn pool. So you have access to a very, very nice user base that is going to interact with those liquidity pools and ensure that your tokens, inflation mechanisms, deflationary mechanisms stay true. Apart from that, we are very, very focused on cross-chain interoperability, and that is something that we're going to be expanding on very, very soon. So I think it's a lot more than a DEX that we're offering. It's an entire DeFi ecosystem with completely, rethought UX.
All right, now this one could take a little bit longer, but I know I did throw these questions a little bit before we started recording, so I'm hoping you had some time to think about it. But if you had to explain your dApps value proposition using only 3 emojis, what would they be?
Only 3 emojis. Okay. Yeah. I think I think it would be a star emoji, a rocket emoji, and a fire emoji.
There you go. Yeah, pure rocket going to the moon, a fire project. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Now, Jay, any final comments that you'd like to make to our audience? Obviously, this podcast goes on YouTube and on audio platforms, but it also gets sent out on X and to our email database as well. So, what would you like to say to the Supra audience right now?
Yeah, I think all of the Supra holders right now, they can be very, very excited at this point because we're going live. The first DEX, the first IDO platform, the first nail service on Supra is going live within a couple of weeks. And we're super excited for everyone to try the platform, see what we have built, and improve from feedback.
And where can people find out more about Dexlyn? There's obviously the app URL, but what about the homepage, docs, social media handles, things like that?
Sure. So, all the social media handles are at the rate Dexlyn Labs, Twitter, Instagram, it's at the rate Dexlyn Labs. If you want to learn more about what we're building, you can go ahead, visit dexlyn.com, which also has a comprehensive documentation section, so which contains the entire functional flow of the application. So you can go ahead, check that out, be prepared for when the application goes live, so you know exactly what to do.
Well, Jay Kapoor, the co-founder of Dexlyn Labs, we have really enjoyed this. I've personally thoroughly enjoyed this. Love what you guys are building. Can't wait to see you on mainnet. Thank you so much for joining us on the Super dApp Builders podcast, Jay. It's been a real pleasure, man. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me over.
Yeah, it's been great. We wish you guys all the best. Really excited to see you live very, very soon. And we can't wait to see everything live happening and for the big launch. Good luck, Jay.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Until next time, this has been another edition of the Super dApp Builders podcast with myself, James, and Jay Kapoor, the co-founder of Dexlyn Labs. Until the next episode, we'll see you soon. Sup, tribe.